The old woman was trembling on a lonely park bench under the blazing afternoon sun, clutching a faded handbag with both hands as people hurried past without even looking at her. Her clothes were dusty, her face was filled with quiet fear, and every passing minute made her seem more invisible. Across the street, a struggling single father carrying grocery bags for delivery noticed her from a distance. He had barely enough money to feed his little son that evening, yet something deep inside his heart refused to let him walk away. That one simple decision, made by a man who had nothing to give except kindness, would soon uncover a secret that no one in the city could have imagined. It would lead him to a billionaire family, change his life forever, and remind everyone that the smallest act of compassion can create miracles beyond imagination. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes in humanity, and subscribe to the Hardworking Dad channel for more emotional stories that restore faith in people. The city was alive with the warmth of a bright summer afternoon. Streets were crowded with workers rushing home, children laughed in playgrounds, and expensive cars rolled past tiny apartments where families struggled every day. Among those hardworking people was a 36-year-old single father named Rowan Mercer. Life had never been easy for him. 3 years earlier, his wife had passed away after a long illness, leaving him to raise their 7-year-old son, Micah, alone. Since then, every sunrise meant another battle against unpaid bills, rising rent, and the endless pressure of keeping hope alive for his child. Rowan worked wherever he could find work. During the mornings he delivered groceries. In the afternoons he repaired broken furniture for neighbors. At night he cleaned office buildings after everyone had gone home. Sleep became a luxury he could rarely afford, but every sacrifice was worth it whenever he saw Micah smiling. The little boy never complained about wearing second-hand clothes or eating simple meals. Instead, he thanked his father every night before bed, believing that they already had everything they truly needed because they still had each other. That afternoon, Rowan was heading home after completing his last grocery delivery when he noticed the elderly woman sitting completely alone beneath the harsh sunlight. Something about her expression felt different. She did not look like someone asking for money. She looked like someone who had simply been forgotten. Rowan hesitated only for a second before walking toward her. The woman appeared exhausted and weak. Sweat covered her forehead, and her hands shook as though she had not eaten in many hours. Rowan offered her the bottle of water he had been saving for himself. She accepted it with grateful eyes that seemed to carry years of hidden sorrow. As she slowly drank, Rowan realized she was trying hard not to cry. He gently asked if she had somewhere to stay. The woman quietly shook her head. She admitted that she had become separated from people she trusted and no longer knew where to go. She seemed confused, frightened, and deeply embarrassed about accepting help from a complete stranger. Rowan looked inside his nearly empty wallet. He knew he could barely afford dinner that night. Renting a hotel room for her was impossible. Calling a shelter might leave her alone for hours before anyone arrived. Every practical solution seemed beyond his reach. Yet leaving her there felt even more impossible. Without expecting anything in return, Rowan invited the elderly woman to spend the night in his tiny apartment until they could figure out a better solution. The apartment contained only 2 small bedrooms, worn furniture, peeling paint, and a kitchen where every ingredient had to be carefully stretched to last until payday. Still, when Micah saw the elderly visitor, he immediately smiled and welcomed her as though she were family. He offered her his favorite chair and even insisted she have the last fresh apple from the kitchen. The old woman's eyes filled with tears. She had spent years surrounded by luxury before recent events turned her world upside down, yet she had never witnessed generosity that came from people who possessed so little. That evening Rowan cooked a simple meal of soup, bread, and rice. The 3 of them ate together while sunlight poured gently through the apartment window. For the first time in many days, the elderly woman smiled with genuine warmth. She watched Rowan carefully helping Micah with homework before preparing for another night shift. Every action revealed the quiet strength of a father who refused to let hardship steal his kindness. Over the following 2 days, Rowan contacted local authorities, hospitals, and community organizations hoping someone might recognize the woman. She remembered only fragments of recent events. Her name was Evelyn Ashcroft, but she struggled to recall phone numbers or addresses. Rowan never lost patience. He continued searching while treating her with the same dignity he would offer his own mother. Unknown to Rowan, an entirely different search was unfolding across the country. News channels had quietly reported that Evelyn Ashcroft, the widowed mother of business billionaire Celeste Ashcroft, had mysteriously disappeared after becoming confused during a medical episode while traveling. Security teams, private investigators, and local police had searched tirelessly for days without success. The Ashcroft family had avoided turning the case into a media spectacle, hoping to protect Evelyn's privacy while desperately trying to bring her home. On the third afternoon, Rowan finally received a call from a hospital administrator who had connected missing person reports with the information he provided. Within hours, several black luxury vehicles slowly entered the narrow street where Rowan lived. Neighbors gathered outside, wondering why such expensive cars had arrived in their modest neighborhood. Elegant security officers stepped out first, followed by a confident woman whose graceful appearance immediately drew everyone's attention. She was Celeste Ashcroft, one of the country's most respected billionaire entrepreneurs. Her eyes searched anxiously until they fell upon the apartment door. When Evelyn stepped outside and saw her daughter, emotion overwhelmed them both. They embraced tightly beneath the bright afternoon sky, tears streaming freely as weeks of fear finally melted into relief. Even experienced security guards quietly looked away, allowing the family their precious moment. Celeste soon learned everything. She discovered that while countless strangers had ignored her vulnerable mother, one exhausted single father with almost nothing had opened his home without hesitation. He had never asked who Evelyn was. He had never searched for rewards. He had simply chosen compassion over convenience. As Celeste entered Rowan's apartment, she noticed the cracked walls, worn sofa, patched curtains, and nearly empty refrigerator. Yet despite the poverty surrounding them, she also noticed something much rarer. The apartment was filled with love, respect, and quiet hope. Rowan appeared uncomfortable by all the attention. He repeatedly insisted that anyone would have done the same. Celeste knew that was not true. Thousands had walked past her mother before Rowan stopped. She thanked him sincerely before leaving with Evelyn. Life returned to normal. Or at least Rowan believed it had. Weeks passed without any unexpected phone calls. Rowan continued working every available job. Bills still arrived. The apartment still leaked whenever heavy rain fell. Micah still dreamed about owning a bicycle someday, though he never asked for one because he understood their financial struggles. Then one ordinary afternoon everything changed. A formal letter arrived inviting Rowan to the Ashcroft Foundation headquarters. Certain that some paperwork remained unfinished, Rowan borrowed a clean shirt from a neighbor and nervously attended the meeting. Inside the impressive building, Celeste greeted him warmly. She explained that no amount of money could fully repay genuine kindness, but she believed gratitude should always be expressed through meaningful action. Instead of simply handing Rowan a check, she had spent weeks quietly investigating his life. She learned about his work ethic, honesty, and remarkable reputation within the community. Every employer praised his integrity. Every neighbor described him as dependable. Every teacher admired the way he raised Micah with love despite overwhelming hardship. Celeste believed people like Rowan deserved opportunity rather than charity. She offered him a permanent management position within one of the foundation's community outreach programs. The salary was several times greater than everything he had previously earned combined. It included healthcare, educational support for Micah, and enough stability to finally give his son the childhood he deserved. Rowan sat speechless. For years he had fought every day just to survive. Now someone believed in his character more than his resume. His first instinct was to ask whether someone more qualified should receive the opportunity instead. Celeste smiled because that humble response confirmed she had chosen the right person. Over the next year Rowan's life transformed completely. He moved into a comfortable home where Micah finally had his own bedroom filled with books, sunlight, and space to dream. He no longer worked exhausting night shifts. Instead, he dedicated his energy to helping struggling families find housing, employment, and emergency assistance through the foundation. Every family he helped reminded him of the difficult years he had survived himself. He listened patiently because he understood pain. He treated every visitor with dignity because he remembered what it felt like to be invisible. Micah flourished in school, inspired by his father's example. Rather than becoming proud of their improved circumstances, he became even more compassionate. He volunteered at food drives, visited elderly neighbors, and often reminded his classmates that everyone deserved kindness regardless of appearance or wealth. Evelyn also remained an important part of their lives. She frequently visited their home during bright sunny afternoons, bringing homemade desserts and sharing stories from her younger years. She often said that the richest day of her life was not when her family built its fortune but when a struggling father welcomed a frightened old woman into his tiny apartment without asking a single question. Years later, Rowan stood before hundreds of volunteers during a charity event organized by the Ashcroft Foundation. Looking across the crowd, he remembered the afternoon when he had almost walked past the lonely woman sitting alone beneath the blazing sun. One decision. One moment. One act of kindness. That was all it took to change countless lives forever. He realized that compassion is never measured by the size of a bank account. It is measured by the size of the heart. Wealth can build skyscrapers, buy companies, and purchase luxury, but only kindness can rescue broken spirits and create hope where none existed before. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Hardworking Dad so more people can discover stories that remind us the world still has good people. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe even the smallest act of compassion can change someone's life forever. As the golden afternoon sun slowly disappeared behind the city skyline, Rowan watched Micah laughing beside Evelyn in the backyard of the home they once thought they could never afford. He understood that miracles rarely arrive with flashing lights or loud announcements. Sometimes they appear quietly, disguised as an elderly stranger waiting alone on a park bench, giving an ordinary person the extraordinary opportunity to choose kindness. And when kindness is chosen without expecting anything in return, life has a beautiful way of rewarding the heart in ways no one could ever predict.